What is going on? It's Alex coming back at you with another video. And today we're going to be doing a stock report for this last week in the 2024 NFL Draft. If you are new, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Do the fun YouTube jazz on the way to 10K. Maybe we'll hit it at the end of this year, maybe not. Either way, we're going to have fun on the way to there. Again, feel free to join the community and use all those links in the description to make the most out of the show. Let's get right into this. Happy Thanksgiving or day after Thanksgiving for y'all. Happy Black Friday, even though we all know that the deals are not going to be so great because I don't know what's up with corporate America. They just decided to say, fuck you on Black Friday. These are going to be the stars of the week. Let's start out with the stars. And Leatu Latu, 9 pressures this past week. Dude's just been killing it pressure-wise. I'm excited to continue readjusting it. Also, speaking of readjustment, decided to readjust the graphics a little bit to add that position in there. I know there's been quite a few requests for that, so feel free to check that out. But for a team like the Vikings that really do appreciate these very versatile edge rushers, especially the hyper athletic ones, especially if you bring back Danielle Hunter, who knows how to use that versatility well, this could be a massive, massive addition. I feel like that's the lowest that he can go. Maybe you could talk about him to, I don't even know if there's another team that I think is better of a fit. So, like, genuinely, this is a very, very good spot to go. But obviously, this dude played out of his mind this past week. He's been playing out of his mind arguably every single week. Next, we got Jabbar Muhammad. This guy came out of nowhere. Y'all know how much I love Washington DBs, but obviously he's the slot corner there. He ended up having 3 pass breakups and 2 interceptions this past week. That's ridiculous. A team like the Steelers, who could really use a top-tier slot corner, especially the ones who love to use their top-tier slot corners, would be a great spot for him. But got to give this guy a shout-out. Not many people talked about it, but that's one of the best stat lines I've ever seen from a corner in a week. Then we got Bo Nix, 404 yards and 6 touchdowns. This dude pretty much all did it in the first half as well. So this guy's putting up a ton of statistics, but also a team like the Steelers that are used to, just look at him. He's essentially Kenny Pickett, but what Kenny Pickett should have been. Bigger arm, more mobile, honestly a better game manager. So I really would hope that he would fall to the Steelers, but highly, highly doubt it. Bo Nix, incredible job. He's been doing an incredible job every single week. He should be the Heisman. He should. Him or Jaden Daniels. They've been performing incredibly, but got to give those guys a shout out. Looking at the rest of the list, we got the 2 Texas boys, Byron Murphy as well as Tavondre Sweat. Byron Murphy, he had 6 pressures this week. Tavondre has just been consistent all around, had 3 pressures as well. For me, I like to put Tavondre higher. Like, I essentially weight Tavondre's pressures as 2 times Byron's because of the run impact that Tavondre brings. And again, Byron's done an incredible job. Probably should return and end up coming out next year, but if he doesn't, cool for us. Then we got Tyler Onyedim out of Iowa State. This guy had... He's 295 pounds as an edge rusher, and he had 5 pressures this past week versus UT. So for me, I want to give a shout out to sometimes when I see players, I didn't even list them, but Brennan Presley, Oklahoma State wide receiver. There's dudes who I genuinely want to give shout outs to, but this is such a refined list that it essentially is the all-stars of the week. I do have my stars, but really these are the all-stars of the week. Then we got Braylon Trice. He had 6 pressures this week, so continuing his tear. The dude's just doing some baller stuff. Like, honestly, respect to him. He's been doing an incredible job. You got Devin Neal and honorable mention Trey Henderson. Devin Neal, I think he got the 3 touchdowns, but had 18 carries and 12 missed tackles forced on those, while Trey Henderson had 15 carries for more yards at 146, 2 touchdowns, but he only had 5 missed tackles forced. Still did an incredible job, but people say I don't give Trey Henderson enough credit. Gonna give him it to him right there. Mike Sainristil had 2 picks this past week. Got to give him credit as well. Christian Roland Wallace, he had 8 yards allowed, 2 pass breakups. Got to give credit where credit is due. Again, I like to be able to see those corners who really do have those lockdown games. Xavier Restrepo, over 180 yards, and again, this guy's been super consistent, underrated. No one talks about him. Genuinely, well, he'll probably return to school with Tyler Van Dyke because I think they're roommates as well, but one of the better players that doesn't get talked about. Kingsley Suamataia has 0 pressures allowed this week, which is great for somebody who he's had some pretty rough games in there. Then you got Brennan Jackson, 2 touchdowns off of fumbles. So got to give credit to my boy, friend of the show, has come on to the show a couple of times. Big respect for Brennan. Great guy as well. I got to give a shout out to RJ Stone. I think he had 6 pressures this week as well. But let's look at the stock down duds of the week. Starting out with the one dud, it is JJ McCarthy. Under 100 and I believe 150 yards and 0 big time throws. 141, 0 big time throws, 4 turnover worthy plays, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. Not good. Not good. This is where he really needs to start, stepping up. He had a, statistically awful game versus Penn State. Even though he had 100% completion percentage, he threw like 70 yards. But, you could still say, well, he didn't need to play. That's what I said. Like, you didn't really need to do much. Well, shit. He ended up really crapping the bed this past week. And that definitely knocks his stock. Another team, again, Vikings are going to be featured in this. Vikings, Steelers, we need help. But for a round 2 target where it's probably going to be a little bit rough for the Vikings given their position in the NFC right now, where probably won't get them in the first. Like, it's down to the Vikings as well as the Seahawks to be able to snag good old JJ. But looking at other players, Jalen Polk had 0 yards this week. Same thing with Jalen McMillan. And to be fair, there's only 141 yards thrown by our good old buddy there in why am I forgetting his name? Michael Penix. But if I'm not mistaken, Michael Penix had like 5 big time throws on 140 yards. The hell is that all about? But good for him. Regardless, you also got Zach Frazier. He had a 27.9 pass blocking grade this week. So statistically, in terms of the pressures, I think he only allowed 1, but there obviously is more to the tale than that. Jacob Cowing had 2 receptions, 5 yards. For someone who I regard as a top 40 to top 50 player, I'm going to have a little bit of a higher standard for him. Joe Milton, dude, I mean, he put up under 150 yards, 0 big time throws, 1 turnover worthy play. When you're a star quarterback or a potential star quarterback with a 90+ yard throw distance, put up the big plays, man. Put them up. And that's a vertical offense. Put up the big plays. And he's not doing that. He looks scared. You got Julian Pearl. I think he got another 5 freaking pressures allowed. This dude's falling off the face of the earth. It's genuinely sad because he had so much potential. Like, he had a lot of potential, and he was an older prospect. And it's like, all right, well, we'll see if he ends up living up to it. And it is what it is. JT Tuimalau, 0 pressures this week, but still did pretty fine all around. Braylon Allen, he had sub 3 yards per carry. This dude, just for some reason, either has 7 yards per carry or like 2 yards per carry. Feels very Derrick Henry-esque, but Derrick Henry was a pretty much Heisman contender the whole time he was in college. And I think he also won one. So very unfortunate for Braylon. Marshawn Lloyd, also 2.1 yards per carry. Another huge momentum-killing fumble that ended up being a scoop and score. Genuinely disappointing. So that really sucks. And Talise Fuaga, double-checking my facts here to make sure that I tell you it's 3 pressures allowed. He's been allowing a lot of pressures for some reason. He had a really hot start to the year. For me, that gives me hope. But for someone who I have, again, a super high bar for, like 3 pressures is going to get any tackle that's worth drafting on this list. But genuinely starting to get a little bit worried. Maybe he had an injury. Maybe something's fracturing his confidence. But he really needs to get his head and ass wired together. But that is going to be the video. Let me know what you think down below. Who else should have gotten a shout out? Because I have a lot of guys right over here like Aiden Robbins, Billy Bowman, who could have gotten on this list. But thank you so much for watching. See you on the far side. Peace.